Welcome back to the 12th man. Delighted to bring Colin Logue back on the show. Fellow Maiden City coach. We're a bit flattered at the moment with everything that's going on back at the football, but delighted to bring you this show. I'm going to talk about last night's game, Colin, a lot on the race for Europe, as well as the FA Cup final coming up this weekend.
He's on 350 grand a week, and he's literally doing live streams on Twitter during a game against Carson.
It's madness, like, it's was going to get 350 grand a week,
So only one push start for me. Like only the one Harley. My opinion is like the game every
And welcome back to the 12th man. Delighted to have you back, Colin. You're looking a bit fresher since that last time you're on. The hair's all trimmed and the beard's all trimmed.
Well needed, Gareth. Well needed.
I tell you, it was a long lockdown. I tell you, it's probably the longest one yet. But it's good to be back. Obviously, big game last night. It was sort of a bigger game for Liverpool than it was for United. Obviously, it's a big game that's still United Liverpool, but in terms of the points, when I seen the fixtures getting done the way they were done out, I thought it was a really bad one for Liverpool. I thought that Leicester game, sandwiched in between the Villa and Liverpool, meant that they were going to rest all their players for the middle game, therefore being fresher for the Liverpool game. So the Leicester result didn't surprise me. But I'll tell you what, that result last night did take me back a bit. I did not see United losing that game last night. I find it difficult to sort of pinpoint them saying they're going to win it because they haven't got a lot to play for other than pride at the moment. But I still thought that Liverpool's record at Old Trafford has been very poor over the last few years, and that United would at least get a draw. So, they're usually quite low-scoring affairs. The fact that it was quite open was an hour surprise. Were you surprised at how the game went?
Honestly, I don't think I was surprised with the way it was very open in terms of Liverpool having a go and us having a go, because Liverpool obviously have to win, and yep. I think it's almost like a free slap for us against them. Well, you would think second secured. So I thought United could just go out and play freely, and that's exactly what they did, and just left.
And it played under Liverpool's hands.
Oh, jeez. And then Liverpool at the butt between their teeth. I think at that level, at the highest level, when you have really something to aim for, then it's going to, especially against two top teams, it's going to definitely play. It's going to play a part. And I think Liverpool had more of an incentive last night. All right, United had the incentive of beating Liverpool and beating the last year's champions, and obviously the rivalry, and it's the biggest game in the calendar. But Liverpool have Liverpool needed United didn't need to win that game. Liverpool needed to win that game, and it showed. Plus the fact, you're probably predicting I was going to say this. Minus Harry Maguire, United are all over the place. Absolutely.
I don't think anyone realised that until the last couple of games, especially last night, when they had their full team out.
Yeah, I've been saying it to a few friends, over the course of the last reg months, that Harry Maguire is just so important to our team. I think he might have been rested for 1 or 2 cup games throughout the year, and it showed as well.
Premier League until he went off injured against Villa.
I think he was rested for 1 or 2 cup games. I can't remember the exact games throughout the season, but it showed as well. He's just got the authority. He's a calm and influence. He's a leader. He's a very, very good player.
I think he's mostly treated by the media or fans. The price tag. It doesn't look like your standard footballer. That he sometimes gets unfairly criticised, and he's actually quite a good defender.
He's an excellent defender. He's an excellent centre half. There's no doubt about it. He's not worth 80 million. I've said this in a podcast before. He's not worth £80 million. Of course, he's not. No, nobody will tell you that. But
it's hard to see England winning the Euros without him. If they're going to have any chance of winning the Euros, I think he has to be playing.
Oh, he has to play. Well, if he's fit, he plays. He'll be a massive miss to England if he's not fit. He's just. I think Neville said it last night. When he's not there, you notice it so much. Eric Bailly has loads of good qualities, and Victor Lindelof has loads of good qualities too. But I think they need someone on beside them a Harry Maguire or just that calm and influence. The way Virgil van Dijk is when he goes, like Joe Gomez and Matip are probably not the same when he's not there. It's just, I don't think it
creates an uneasiness when your natural leader's missing.
Exactly, he's a leader, and I don't think you can teach it. I think it's just got it. He's a natural leader, and he's just, every time I see him on the ball, he's calm and he's
composed.
Right, he's made a few mistakes, but who hasn't made a few mistakes? He's just an excellent defender, and I've been arguing that this case the past year with a couple of
United before he won Liverpool, right? I'm not sure how many defeats it actually is, but there's been a lot of home defeats, right? You think back to this Palace, Spurs, Arsenal, Sheffield United, Leicester, Liverpool. I'm not sure if I've missed out any there, but there's been a few. There's been 6 maybe, at least, at home. The away forms were very, very good. But do you think that's the reason they haven't been up there closer to City, that you can't really win a league if you've lost 6 games at home?
No, that's true. That's awful. They lose that many at home, but this season I'm not sure you can really differentiate home and away form just because there's no fans. It's just a strange season. I've said that to you before. Next year, I think we can judge teams a lot more next year. Again, Liverpool will be back. I've no doubt about it. United hopefully will go again and get right up there again, and we know what City's like. But no, that home form's been terrible. But then it's even itself out with the away form. I don't think the home form. The home form's obviously stopped us from really challenging Man City, but the bottom
against
line,
the Sheffield United game and the Palace one, there's been 6 home games against the top 6, and there's been 4 defeats and 2 draws. So against the top teams, they haven't been able to win them games at home. They've gone away to Spurs and won. I'm not sure if they've won away at Man City, but I think the other ones might have been draws away from home. So again, against the top 6, the record wasn't that great.
No, it's something they'll need to improve. Listen, I look at it in a bigger picture. I've said this to you before. Just don't look at wee pockets of big games like that. Or look at pockets of home form. I just try and look at the overall picture, and I find it hard to criticise Solskjaer or Man United this season. The United has progressed from last season, especially if we won the Europa League and cement that second place. Then it's been a good season, and I couldn't believe the overreaction in the Sky Sports studio last night.
Before we come on to your league final, I mean, Roy Keane, he tends to speak sometimes very quickly after defeats. I know he's hurting. He's a United fan, but Fred's been one of United's most consistent players this year. All right, he makes a mistake for that goal. Didn't have a great game last night. But do you think that was a fair reaction from Roy Keane, that he's never going to be in a part of a team that wins anything at United?
It was a terrible reaction from him and from Souness. I thought Jamie Redknapp was was okay in his analysis of it. He wasn't. If somebody had come in last night at the end of that game, they would have thought that United were sixth or seventh and Liverpool were second, the way them pundits were talking. They completely disregarded United's season and completely judged United's season on that game last night and the way United are as a squad on that game. You can't do that. What about all the other brilliant performances United have put on? They cement second in the league and they get the Europa League final. I know Keane was saying about they were in the Champions League and it doesn't count the Europa League final, but United are at the stage where we're progressing.
Talk about it a lot, Colin, a development process.
Here they are. Now listen, I will say this: next year I think Solskjaer really needs to do something. If he's backed in this window, I think he needs to do something next year. I'll not probably take it next year as a development process, but if United go and win the Europa League now and finish second, it's been a real good season.
Yeah.
Everybody has to have a sense of reality about United, of where they've been. I certainly have. I'll tell you, I've suffered over the past 4 or 5 years for United, so I'm delighted with it. I enjoy watching that squad and that team every week.
Yeah. The one thing that might concern you about the United fans is the 2 back-to-back defeats, and they didn't really play great on them. I know you can sort of look at the first game and say it was a second-string team, but last night, they've got 2 more games left in the league. If they were to say similar, not really be at it, how difficult is that for you? You've played the game to get back to a level for a final. That they've maybe lacked, because in the league they're almost, as they say, on the beach because second place is done. They haven't got much to play for in the league. They can't really go up or down. I don't think they're going to be worrying about closing any points tally to Man City. At the end of the day, doesn't matter how many. They're going to finish second. So do you think that that'll be on the minds of Solskjaer now this week, trying to get them into a bit of form before the final again?
100%. You could probably disregard the Leicester game because it was a full second string. It wasn't even.
I'll be honest, Colin. Right, I watched the Villa game, and I thought, you know what, they're going to chase Man City all the way to this. They won it themselves. I thought Leicester. I know they put out a second string team, and I did see where they could lose points, but I still thought they'd give Leicester a better game. And then I thought they beat Liverpool, so I thought that they could win both games, and then Man City all of a sudden go on the night 4 points behind them. They're 4 points behind City, and City feel a bit of pressure. They won that game, but obviously it didn't really work out that way. But the way they played against Villa was very good, brilliantly, and they were very unlucky to go 1-0 down to a great finish. But I thought that game sort of summed up United's season. The fact they went behind and never lost any confidence. They just played their football and some great goals, and some great football. So I was kind of surprised at how it's gone this week. But as you say, I'm sure Solskjaer will be working hard to get that back.
See, exactly, Gary, and there's a thing, you've just nailed it. Everybody has forgotten that Villa performance when United were absolutely outstanding against Villa, who've been a good side this year and went 1-0 down and showed their character once again. Everybody's forgotten that. That was only a week ago. Now, the protests for the first Liverpool game has obviously had a huge effect, because then it means United had 4 games in 8 days, and Solskjaer had to do something. I've got a couple of my friends sending me messages saying, what is he at playing that team against Leicester? I'm saying, what are you at? Sending me a message saying that he should play a full-strength team when he's just played against Roma on Thursday night, he's played against Aston Villa on Sunday. And
impossible.
Of course it is, especially if he's going to want to do something against Liverpool, which is what I tried to do. All right, it failed. Liverpool a better team, and they're an excellent team. They'll come again. There's no doubt about that. But United, I wouldn't be judging United over the past week. Definitely not. I'd be judging them over the course of the season, and it will be hard. Don't get me wrong, it will be hard to pick themselves up again after a couple of defeats. But I think they'll do it. I think they'll beat Fulham, and I think they'll get a result against Wolves. Now, I'm still worried that, honestly, Harry Maguire's huge miss, because Gary Neville nailed it last night. So erratic all over the place. See, when you haven't got that calm and influence in that central defence, that then it just spreads throughout the team. And Eric Bailly and Victor Lindelof need to get it sorted straight away, because I would worry. I'm not worried about the last 2 games. United don't win any in the last 2 games.
What's the timeline for Maguire's injury? Is he going to be back for the final, or is it touch and go?
They're saying he could be. That was the first That was the first sort
I
of.
mean, a lot of people are saying it's an easy final. Villarreal, mid-table Spanish side, but you're up against a manager that knows how to win this competition. Emery's won 3 European Europa Leagues with Sevilla. This will be his 5th final, and he's not even 50 yet, so he knows how to get here, and he knows how to spring a performance. I think he can adapt as well. He can play a very open game, and he can play a very defensive style as well. So it'll be interesting to see what way they go. Player for player, United are stronger, so he might be a bit more cautious. But there's no easy finals when you get on a European final, especially against a manager that knows how to win it. Against Solskjaer, he's going to appear in his first European final as a manager. So although United are favourites, it's still very difficult game, isn't it?
I totally agree. I don't think we have any excuses. We should go out and won that final. We should win the Europa League. It's, as you say, player for player, squad, far better. So Harry Maguire missing or not, no excuses. United should be winning that. But as you say, Villarreal, listen, they've earned the right to get there, and they're a decent side, and they'll cause United problems. But if United's at it and they defend properly, they should win. I'm confident, but again, I won't be surprised if Villarreal sneak it in some way or another.
James is saying here, if your players are fit, you have to play them no matter what. See, that's the problem that you have, James. If United had played their full strength against Leicester, full strength against Liverpool, what happens if Bruno Fernandes picks up an injury? Solskjaer gets hammered, he misses the final. United don't win the final. It all comes back to that decision he made. The end of the day, Solskjaer, if United had been 3 points behind Man City got on them 2 games, I think he might have to try and risk a couple of them players playing 3 games. But the fact that they didn't really have much riding on it points wise, and he has to think about the final, it makes it an easier decision. Would you say that, Colin?
Aye, absolutely. I don't agree with that. That if your players are fit, they play. The managers have to manage. They have to plan ahead for 1 or 2 games, especially at this stage of the season when there's bigger things riding and the games coming up. He didn't, as you say, he didn't have to do it. And by the way, they're getting all the advice in the world from the physios and from the.
Colin, I was going to say, if you remember the Spurs Amazon doc, the amount of times Spurs had injuries, and that's the last season, the amount of times Mourinho was talking to the doctors and they were saying, look, you can't play. Basically, they come back and pull on it. They'll do player welfare now. It's a bit like when concussion comes on. It's not up to the player if he stays on it. It comes up to the medical advisor. So again, he would have been told, look, these players can't do it. So
exactly.
Then they can't play them.
I was really, really comfortable with that team Solskjaer put out. And by the way, there was a load of internationals in that team, and as you said, Gary, earlier, I wasn't overly confident, but I was thinking United could easily get a result against Leicester here, easily.
Yep.
And then nobody would be talking about it. Nobody would say anything if United got a result, But obviously they didn't, and Leicester went on and won. Everybody's saying, you have to play your strongest team. Absolutely not.
Coming back to Liverpool last night, as I said before at the start of the show, I was quite surprised at the performance. Liverpool, although they've been winning a couple of games recently, they've not been, even chatting to Liverpool fans, they've not been that convincing. But last night they seemed to really be at it. Obviously a big game, as you said, extra incentive, but it's very difficult to just turn it on, when you haven't been playing well. So you have to give them full credit. And after that result, Colin, do you think they'll finish in the top 4?
Oh, well, first of all, I hope not. That's why I wanted to beat them last night, to keep them out of the top 4. But I think they're still up against it. I was actually looking at it. I shouldn't be looking because I shouldn't really care about them, but I do. They have a few decent fixtures, but I think Chelsea and Leicester play each other. So
I think that's the case. You see, the fact that Chelsea and Leicester play each other, one of them have to lose points, if not 2. I think it's more favourable for Liverpool if Leicester get a draw or where they won that game, because Liverpool can only finish on the same amount of points if Leicester beat Spurs. So Leicester could lose to Chelsea and then beat Spurs, and if Liverpool won all the 3 games, they'll finish level on points, so it could come in the goal difference. And if Chelsea were to beat Leicester, beat Villa, Chelsea would finish ahead of Liverpool. So it could come down to goal difference. I'm not sure how you see it. I think a lot of it's going to, we shouldn't just take it for granted. Liverpool have to beat West Brom on Sunday. I mean, they should win, but they've struggled against these teams all season. So let's say they beat them. They'll be a point behind point behind Chelsea and 3 behind Leicester with the same games played. But Chelsea play Leicester on Tuesday. Liverpool then play Burnley on Wednesday away, and then it goes to the final game where Leicester play Spurs, Chelsea are away to Villa, and Liverpool are home to Palace. So, I mean, it all looks now like it's going to go to the final day. So, very exciting because there is something to look forward in the last day of the season because relegation's done, Premier League's done really. The league at the top. So this looks like it's going to be the big Sky Sports build up. It's so hard to call. I mean, it is very difficult. I'm struggling to predict who's going to miss out.
I know I'm the same. I just think I messaged one of my friends last night. I think they might do it. I just think they'll sneak in it. I always said in a few podcasts before. I always think a pedigree comes. It's
very tough to say pedigree now when it comes to the final few points. So it's down to literally it could come down to goal difference.
But I think they looked last night that they've a back with a bit between the teeth again, and they look as if they might just go on and won these last few games, and obviously they need a favour elsewhere, but I think it'll come. I do think they'll sneak in there.
I think Leicester would have been getting the party poopers out on Tuesday night. I think they probably thought that was them through and home and hose. They probably didn't expect Liverpool to go and beat United, but they looked the most vulnerable because going away to Chelsea, I know Arsenal won the other night, but going away to Chelsea is no easy feat at the moment. If they were to lose that, and let's just say on Sunday before that game, Liverpool go and put 4 past West Brom and gives them a significant goal difference swing because I think they're a goal behind Leicester at the moment. So if they were to go and score 3 or 4 goals, it would swing the goal difference in their favour. And then Leicester, if they're going to beat Chelsea, it's probably going to be, or it's going to be a tight game. If they were to lose that, or even say they lose a couple of goals, it really favours Leicester or Liverpool going into the last game of the season. If Liverpool were to go and beat Burnley, they will be level. But obviously, Leicester would have to outscore Liverpool in the last day of the season if they were to finish level points. And with Liverpool playing Crystal Palace, who are going to be on the beach, probably Hodgson's last game. A lot of them players are out of contract. You couldn't ask for a worse fixture. And Leicester, they should beat. You fancy them to beat Spurs because they'll have something to play for, but it's a much more difficult game. So do you think Leicester fans will be absolutely cacking it at the moment?
Absolutely. Of course they will. They'll be thinking it's deja vu all over again. Remember last year? Wasn't it last year they fell away completely? It's going to be tight. I think Liverpool will sneak in there. I don't know if it's going to be Chelsea or Leicester dropping out. I think Liverpool's going to sneak in there. Maybe that's just
see if it is Leicester. It's a real heartbreaker for them because they deserve it. Like there's no out of them teams, they've been consistent for most of the season, but just can't get over the line. How if they lose the cup final, we'll come talk about that. If they lose the cup final on Saturday, finish 5th, does everyone start talking about lack of character and Rodgers again? Not getting a team over the line. Does his reputation come under fire?
I don't think so. Well, that's for everybody else. It's not. Listen, if Leicester finish, if somebody says they Rodgers the start of the season is where you are now, that with a few games to go, take your hand off now. Still
in their hands. 4 points in 2 games means Liverpool can't catch them.
Leicester on paper, Gary, shouldn't really be competing with all these clubs. Let's be honest. Look at the budget and look at the money all these clubs have spent. So Rodgers finishes 5th for me and gets beaten in the cup final. I certainly won't be questioning his pedigree as a manager. He's a top drawer coach manager.
The only thing I would look at it from a Leicester point of view is Rodgers has talked about a project there and stuff, and obviously staying on. If they already finished 5th, not won the final, do you think there might be an element of him thinking that he's probably taking it as far as he can in our season to try and get in the top 4 again? It's Liverpool's going to be better next year. United's going to be better. Chelsea look really strong. Man City aren't going to go anywhere. That they've missed 2 big opportunities, and it might be time to move on. Let's just say an Arsenal come on or a Spurs come on from. Notoriously bigger clubs have more of a pedigree as you talk about. He might be more tempted that way than if they were to finish in the top 4.
Possibly. Yeah, I think that's naturally is going to be his next step anyway. One of them clubs, at least one of them clubs, if not a wee bit better. It has to be his next step. And if one of them comes on for him, do you think he's going to? I think he'll find it tough to turn them down.
The rumor is Spurs have sort of made initial contact, and at the minute he doesn't want to talk about it because obviously he's got big games to focus on. But the rumor inside Leicester is he's happy and he sees a project there. Spurs at the minute's a bit of a mess. Arsenal's no better. If they were to get rid of Arteta, he might feel that it's more damaging to take that job than it could go wrong for him. But I just wonder that football's a funny game, and we talked about judging a team on one game. But if Leicester don't win that final, finish fifth, people are going to say that Rodgers, they're going to link him back to that Liverpool thing where he couldn't get them over the line. They won the league. He can't get Leicester over the line 2 years in a row, and they've been way out in front. They finished in the top four. He might think if he stays another year at Leicester and it goes bad, then all of a sudden he's no chance of a big move. I don't know. It's funny game football, but I'm sure he'll be talking to people around him, and that if he doesn't finish in the top four, Spurs come on for him, who look the most likely. Arsenal have a manager, Spurs don't. He might find it difficult to turn it down.
No, I absolutely agree. I think if one of them big clubs come on for him, listen, put yourself in his shoes now, and you get a call from Daniel Levy or you get a call from Arsenal, they take over, especially who, Gary, where Spurs and Arsenal are, you'd be thinking, surely I can improve. Surely I can improve these two clubs here now. Look, especially Arsenal. Look what Arsenal have done this year. You'd be thinking, I can't get any worse.
Yeah, Spurs as well, this is the same.
And if he comes on there and gets promised a few pounds, you would think, with his coaching and gets a few pounds to spend, you would think he would at least get them under the top, pushing up round, challenging for top four again, and that would be progress for them two clubs.
Decky saying Spurs is a downgrade, probably is at the minute, but I'm just sort of putting it on.
No, Spurs
if they won the FA. No, you don't.
They Leicester.
I think he just means in terms of league where they are at the minute, not as a club.
Obviously, but not. Listen, the Spurs are Spurs. They're a massive club. Look at the new stadium; that'll appeal to him. Hopefully, it'll generate loads of money for him as well. If that's what he's thinking. Leicester's always, that was a freak season they had a few years ago. They're always going to be a club they're actually punching way above their weight at the moment, way above their weight. And that's why I think Brendan Rodgers has done an unbelievable job. If he finishes outside the top three,
I don't discount that. I think he's done whatever happens between now and the season. He's done really, really well, especially last season as well. Deggy saying Spurs should be begging from the come. It would be my second choice. I'll tell you about my first choice in a while. You probably heard me talk about him before. But if we got him, I would be very happy. I think if he wins the FA Cup, Colin, he's made his name because they won a cup. It doesn't really matter. He has that. I'm just saying if he loses the final, doesn't finish in the top four, I think if he wins the FA Cup or finishes top four, he'll stay at Leicester because there's no risk attached. If he goes wrong at Leicester, he can fall back on an FA Cup one. He can fall back and get them on the top four and play in the Champions League. I'm just thinking personally, if he loses both of them games, or if he loses the final, doesn't get to the top four, he's taking an almighty rusty stay at Leicester in our season. If they were to have a bad season, finish mid-table. I mean, it looks like Vardy's slowing down. He's not been in the best of form. Ian Achu's been carrying them. He's getting older, and that's no secret. Evans is getting older. Leicester are going to have to do a bit of work in the summer again. But there's a decision they make in the summer if it doesn't happen. Just staying with it, sort of risk for the top four, Colin. I'm going to push you. You think Liverpool are going to sneak in? So who's missing out?
Oh, I've been saying, Gary, over the last number of months, I think Liverpool will make a real push for it. So I'm going to stick with that and say they're going to get in, and I'm going to say Leicester will miss out.
I think Chelsea will beat Leicester in the final and beat them on Tuesday. And I think that's going to come down to the last game. And I think Liverpool, the Burnley game is going to be the one for Liverpool. I can't see them not beating West Brom and Palace. I think they'll nail on 6 points. Burnley, I think it's tight because Burnley's never an easy game. And it's just, Burnley might not have much to play for, but I just can't imagine them lying down. It's their last home game. They're going to play in front of a crowd. I think it'll be difficult for Burnley just to lay it down. I think it'll be a decent game. And if Liverpool can win that, goal difference as well in there, I just think they'll do enough to get in. Even if Leicester beat Spurs, they're going to miss out in goal difference. And it'll be heartbreaking if they miss out in goal difference, but this is football and it's harsh. It's a harsh reality. Decky saying if you picked Potter over Brenton, you're deluded. I'll tell you my reasons why, and I know you will. But top six then, that would leave Leicester. And who's the other team finishing top six?
Will it be West Ham or
Fancy
Everton?
West Ham. And then 7th place, Spurs, Everton, Arsenal.
Who cares?
Well, no, I'm just saying that because if you don't 7th place, will get that Conference League, and I don't think anybody wants to finish there.
No, exactly. I know that's what I mean. Here I would love Liverpool to be finishing outside that top 4 and getting them playing Thursday night football, because that's all I've heard this year from Liverpool, man. Thursday night football. So they might get a bit of their own medicine.
Decky thinks Everton. If it is Everton, that would mean no European football at Spurs or Arsenal. Colin, how damaging would that be for both them big clubs? They not have European football.
For who? Everton?
No, he said he thinks Everton might finish 7th. So if Spurs and Arsenal were to finish the 8th and 9th, how difficult is that to attract players to London when you've got Chelsea in the Champions League, West Ham in the Europa League, and Spurs and Arsenal not playing any of it?
Definitely have an effect on their budget for the following year. There's no doubt about it. The way Daniel Levy is anyway, with the purse strings, will definitely have it. And obviously we're in the middle of a pandemic and they've suffered already. So
same, very self-sustaining. So again, there will be a lack of funding at both teams.
Exactly, and it will hurt them. And you wonder what type of market they'll be on for players next year. Don't get me wrong.
Colin, would all point if Spurs were short of money, there's one obvious solution, and that is sell one of the big hitters. They try and reinvest. Now, personally, I think that the decision's already been made with Kane anyway. The fact they aren't going to be playing the Champions League, I don't think it matters where they finish now, Europa League or Conference League or not even in Europe. I think Kane wants to play in the Champions League. He's a player that deserves to play in it. And I think if the money is if the money's right, he's going to go. Spurs won't sell him cheap, but they're talking 150 million. Might be slightly higher than teams want to pay, but if they were to get around 120, 130, you might see them sell
up. Who can pay it?
This is it. But there's two obvious ones, and that's United and City.
For some reason, Gary, I don't know. It'd be perfect for both, right? But I just don't see Pep willing to go out. I don't think they go out and really splash it on a 28-year-old, coming 28-year-old. It would be perfect for United and City, but I don't know. I think City are more measured with their signings, whereas United are a wee bit more. They need it more. They need Harry Kane more. Where I think City can maybe look at it and go, we could do without him. We don't need to spend that huge amount. And then, by the way, they might go out and get a cheaper alternative next season by Haaland for what the 65 or is it 65 the clause or something. So
65. I do think, Colin, though, that if Kane doesn't move this summer, that's it. I don't think he'll get another chance.
Nah, you could be right, Gareth. I've said to you before, I just don't see how all the pieces can fit together for him to get out of that club. I think, first of all, he has to be really strong with the club and come out and maybe say publicly that he wants to leave. No, that's what I mean. I don't think he will, because I don't think he wants to disrupt that relationship he has with a Spurs fan. So, first of all, that has to happen. And then, second of all, you have to negotiate with Daniel Levy. And is there a club willing to pay that money for somebody when there's no resale value, even though it'll be amazing? So I'm not sure. And by the way, I would take him in a heartbeat over anyone, any centre forward or Sisti before anyone.
He said it before, eh? Decky saying Spurs, would they bring in Graham Potter? Finish 7th will be twice as hard to attract any players. Right. One of the big reporters on site Spurs has actually said that he's actually the manager that Spurs want. When Spurs have played against Brighton over the last year, they've been very impressed with Brighton's style of play. They're pressing, the instructions they're hearing on the touchline. They're obviously they can't go with the man who they want, but apparently if Potter's appointed, they'll be very happy with that. And again, Decky, nobody really rated Pochettino when he came from Southampton. He was still very much a manager that no one really knew about. And there's just something about him at the time that I liked. And let's be honest, Spurs only got him because Van Gaal went to United. Van Gaal was Spurs' first choice. I think it's pretty evident that Potter isn't Spurs' first choice. They've wanted Nagelsmann. I think Rodgers is high on the list. And there's probably other managers out there as well. I don't think Potter's number one target. But again, Colin, you just know when you get a gut feeling about somebody. I don't know what you're feeling about Potter is. I know you're going to say it Spurs is a big step up, but is there anything about him that you think he could do a job at a bigger club?
Absolutely. Me and you spoke about it before as well. He looks a class act. The way he carries himself, the way Brighton play. Said a friend earlier in the season too. He was actually waiting on Newcastle against Brighton for a bet, and I says, "I'm telling you now, Brighton's a good side. This boy hasn't playing well. They're a centre forward, a real good centre forward away from competing up round top 8. I'm telling you, up round.
I think they're actually fourth. No, at XG, and obviously you can't really do too much, but like expected chances, the goals, they create more chances than most teams. I think they're 4 for fuff in the table now. So only for missing easy chances, and you can't put that down to a manager. Why am I fuffing these lines from 4 or 5? I mean, some of the chances Brighton have missing penalties in games and stuff. They really shape a hair in the table. And the reason, and it's not even that it's just something. I think Ray Rodgers, and I wouldn't be against him getting a job, but if he was the only way I see him coming to Spurs at the moment is if they lose the final and finish outside the top 4, and then if he comes to Spurs, I'm just thinking maybe you could put it down to being unlucky, but he's almost very Spursy where they just can't get over the line. And I'm trying to think, would his confidence take a knock? And sometimes managers there's lucky managers and there's unlucky managers. There's no doubt about it, he's a good manager. But the fact he can't get teams over the line, there's just something about Rodgers then that might put me off a bit. But I'd still back him 100%, but I just fancy Potter. And I've said that from sort of January time to you that if Mourinho was to get sacked, I would want him.
And I think too, if Potter was chosen over Brendan Rodgers, or if he did get the job over Brendan Rodgers, I think there would be slightly less expectation on what Spurs would do next season than if Rodgers got the job. And I think he'd be given a wee bit more leeway to work on a project over the next couple of years. What he's been doing with Brighton, exactly what he's been doing with Brighton. He's been given sort of free rein. They sort of coach him and take him sort of on a journey over the next couple of years, and you can see what he's doing. He's been outstanding with them. I'm just looking as well. Some of the signings he's made and some of the performances he's got out of players has been unbelievable. Like he brought that goalkeeper on. They made a big decision in getting rid of Matt Ryan. Brought that Sanchez boy on. He looks quality. And then he brought that Webster. I think he brought Webster. They look solid as well.
Serious talent.
Basuma and the wee boy Lamptey. Look what he's done with Danny Welbeck. He brought Mopai in. He brought Adam Lallana in, who's perfect for his system as well. And
he recruits very well, and he works with young players, and he's a very progressive style of football that any club would be after. And you look at Pandemic, and Spurs have some good players out in loan at the minute. Skip's he's been named their fans player of the season at Norwich. They've won the league and I know it's a championship. Session's done very well out in Hoffenheim. There's a couple of young players on the books there that I think it's a time to shift some of these older players on and really work with young players. Yes, expectations will be down, but I just think Spurs fans want to see good football and get behind the team and feeling like they're feeling an attachment to the team again. I think that's been missing over the last couple of years, and it's not just with Mourinho. Towards the end of Pochettino, there was obviously things that weren't right. I just think Spurs fans want to go to the games and just be happy again. We're not expecting they won the league, but just even compete. And see a project that we can get behind. I could never really see that. It's when Mourinho, it was always very much that you knew it was going to run out, that sitting back and trying to counter-attack teams. But, I mean, Potter was asked last week about the Spurs job, and he said he was very happy at Brighton. Do you think there's no way he would turn this job down?
Jeez, if there's anything about him, he has to take that step. It's you're at Brighton. All right, you're doing a good job and you're comfortable, by the way, and you're probably under not that much pressure, and you might want to see it out for a few years, and then your time will come at a bigger club. But that time,
his work at Brighton's done for me. What more can he prove?
Okay, I don't know. I think a same boy could even improve him again next year. I really do. I think if he makes another couple of good signings, they could do like. Who knows? They could do something the way, I don't know, maybe West Ham have done, maybe not that extent.
Surely he's got to look at that Spurs team and go, do you know what, if I can convince Kane to stay, Son to stay, get rid of some of this dead wood, and not even spend loads of money, but play, sort of revamp the team with the way I play, teach them a few things, build these young players' confidence, I can do damage. I've got Kane and Son, two of the most lethal finishers in world football. if I can get these boys chances, because they've been starved of chances. That's big. For Kane and Son's numbers to be where they are. They've I think I've seen that they've got the best conversion rate, Spurs in the league, because they've been starved of chances really. For most of the Mourinho era. So I think if they have the kind of chances that Brighton are getting, they're going to bury teams alive.
I don't see how you can turn it down. Also, I don't see how you can turn down a serious, probably, wage increase as well. So let's not forget about that. But it just depends, as you say. I think, honestly, it probably does hinge on them big players and what their feeling is towards Spurs next year, because would you want to go there if a couple of your star players are leaving? But they might see that as an opportunity to build a whole squad and use that money to build a whole squad. So you never know. I just don't see him turning down if he's offered it. I think it'd be an excellent. I think it'd be an excellent choice for Spurs. I really like him. I think he carries himself brilliantly as well, and he's now. And I think he's a maximum respect to that Brighton squad. And I think he would get. He's just a great young coach.
Yeah, and as I said, everyone loves watching Brighton, and that's what draws you to a manager like that. It was the same with Pochettino when Southampton was there. I'm not saying he's going to be the exact same as him, but just get that feeling he's going to be going to do big things, and I just hope it's for Spurs. But we're really seeing here, Kane is world class, but still has injury troubles, of course. You know, Harry Redknapp spoke on TalkSport there a couple of weeks ago, and he said he knows how Daniel Levy works. He said, I guarantee, as soon as the season's over, within a week, Spurs will announce their new manager. He said it's done already. He said the fact that they made that decision, they sacked Mourinho, give Mason the job at the end of the season, that they have somebody lined up that obviously can't take the job right now because they're at a club, and that it'll be announced within the week after the season. And one of them journalists close to Spurs has also sort of confirmed that. He said that the target for Spurs is they announce the manager at the end of the season, if not the end of the season, the first week of June. So do you get the feeling that whoever it is probably done and it's been kept under wraps?
It probably is. Obviously, Harry Redknapp knows Daniel Levy better than anyone. Sure, he's working on it over the past number of weeks. He has to be. He's not doing his job right if he's not. What about Ryan Mason's completely out of the equation as AI?
I think so. I think it's at the end of the day, we could lose every game between now and the season. I wouldn't blame Ryan Mason for it. He's been given a job early to come on. And do you know what? He's probably enjoying it. You know, he might never. He's a Spurs fanboy. He's only 29. To be in that position, I'm sure he's enjoying every minute of it. And you know what? You can't blame him for anything. And I mean, unless he had won that cup final and won every game, I don't think he was going to get it. And again, even if he had done that, you're judging him on a very short period. I think it needs somebody that's got more experience. And that's my feeling on it. You know, we've seen with Arteta, who we've talked about quite a bit. Definitely something there with Arteta. He's a bright young manager, but when you're on a difficult job, like Spurs and Arsenal are probably the two most difficult jobs in England at the moment because of the fans' expectations and reality where the teams are actually at. You can't really draw on past experiences when you're on there and it's going wrong. So I think that's a problem Arteta's has them on it, and Mason will have. But hey, we've talked a lot, Colin, about processes and projects. One theory that's blowing that all away is Chelsea and Thomas Tuchel. I know they had a bit of a dodgy result the other night. We're not saying you can't have any bumps, but they're on 2 cup finals and every chance they could finish in the top 4. So what would you say to that? Now, I'm not saying managers don't need time, but do you think that sometimes managers are getting too long on the job? They prove, you know, I said to you, Mourinho, I don't see it over 18 months. We are still on Arteta. There's not much to cling to in 2 years. You know, and you look at Tuchel within 4 or 5 months, they look like a completely different outfit. I know they've got quality players, but they changed the system. They changed the formation. They changed the style of play, all in a short space of time. You know, how much credit does he deserve? And what would you say to that theory about all these managers needing loads of time?
I still think managers need time. I think Tuchel has walked under an unbelievable squad. Now, he deserves huge credit as well. As you say, he's got them playing. He's got them playing a certain way in his system. But Gareth, let's not forget the money's been spent on that Chelsea squad, and especially what was spent in the summer there as well. So Lampard brought on these players. He's got them playing. He's also got a lot of good young players there and a lot of good backup. But he's been outstanding. and he's probably still in that. I don't know. Might be wrong. He could be in that honeymoon period as well. Still, let's judge.
Some of the results they've had against the top teams would,
okay,
he's twice, and stuff.
Okay, it's been outstanding, but let's judge him over a period of a couple of years.
Colin Logue, see if they were not finished in the top 4, lose the cup final and lose the Champions League final. What kind of position does that put them in? If they were to just finish 5th, because we know Chelsea. If they were to, lose these finals and finish 5th, how much pressure would it be under?
Okay, I still think he'll get another season. That's what I mean. I think we're too quick to judge managers whether they're doing amazingly well and whether they're not doing well. I still think he needs a year or two to really say this boy's some manager. That's my opinion anyway. Up to this point, he's done a great job. But let's see what he's like in a year or two's time. But he's got an unbelievable squad. Honestly, his squad's been. It's worth.
But would you say that he's well, apart from maybe the must know some of them players are mustn't easy chances, but should have had that game over in the first half the other night. But you look at the likes of Havertz and Werner, it's definitely improved under him. Do you still think that he's getting the best out of them players? Where Lampard wasn't. That's good coaching. And although them players are very, very good, he's walked into a class team, but them players are underperforming, and he wasn't getting the best out of them. He's found a way to do that.
I agree. That's what I'm saying. He's getting the best out of the players, and he's got a tune out of Havertz, and he's getting something out of Werner.
Alonso. Everyone said Alonso was finished, and he's coming at left back.
See, that's what I mean, Gary. Managers see different things. So Lampard obviously seen that Ben Chilwell was his number 1, and he wasn't going to play Alonso. But I'm sure Alonso's still brilliant in training. These boys, there's thin lines between the quality of these players, the players that aren't playing and the players that are. And obviously Tuchel's come on and says, I like Alonso, but also like Chilwell, I'm going to rotate them. So managers see different things. And he's obviously got a tune out of Alonso. And I think the big one is Thiago Silva, I think. Lampard.
He couldn't really get a game, could he?
But I think he was injured for a bit of it as well. And Thiago Silva again is like we mentioned earlier. He's been a better player than Harry Maguire has been. He's an amazing career, but he has that type of authority and leadership on the pitch that everybody feeds off, and everybody's calm around him. And he looks like a 25-year-old out there. He's been unbelievable for Chelsea, and that system absolutely suits him down the ground as well.
Sorry,
and that's all credit to Tuchel.
I must have comment here. Ryan Hamilton saying Simeone for the Spurs job. He's the favourite in the bookie size. Well, I didn't know that. I would be very left field. I can't see Simeone coming on just because of that style of play as well. Do we want to go back to that again? I think you've seen against Simeone with the Chelsea games. He's very much hard work, discipline, and that'll get you over the line. I'm not sure we want to go through that again. I don't know about you, Colin. If Solskjaer was to get sacked and United already bring Simeone in, how would you feel about that?
Okay, he's a brilliant manager in what he does, but no, I know what you're saying. I don't think he's quite Mourinho level, Gary, in terms of falling out with players. But he is that. I think players love playing for him, but he is that type of manager. He's got a one way of playing, and I think he's renowned for being quite defensive as well and very solid. But then again, you look at that Athletic Madrid team this year, I think he's went a different way. He's signed, I think he plays with 2 strikers a lot of the time as well. And I think
he played with 2 strikers against Chelsea, but it doesn't really change. They were very defensive. Rory's saying here, Kante's been brought back into the fold as well. What a player he has been since.
That's a great shout. That's a brilliant shout, actually. He's been both him and Thiago Silva. Look here, nobody can argue that. Kante's been unbelievable since Tuchel's come into the job, and he's found a way of getting the best out of them. And you see once again that he's probably in that role, or what he does is probably one of the best midfielders in world football. What he does, he seems back his best.
I was going to say, we were chatting about it a bit earlier with this cup final. And you sort of answered it as well, but you still think that Rodgers should still get a lot of credit. But do you think a lot of people, if he doesn't finish this season well, he lose the final on Sunday, and he don't finish the top 4, a lot of people's going to doubt Rodgers as being that top level manager? Do you think he's still got a butt to prove in that regard? No.
Okay, he has to win trophies. Like, you wouldn't class Ole Gunnar Solskjaer as a top level manager, but he's doing a brilliant job at a top club. I think Rodgers still has to won trophies, but for me, anyway, I think he's one of the best coaches around. And there'll be a lot of clubs on for him. Trust me, if Leicester were to get rid of him, a lot of clubs would pick him in a heartbeat.
Yeah, BQ is on his Primark probably. Rory's saying here, let's get Gary on Woods talk. It must be a podcast, is it? Can't they as quality, lack leadership under Lampard? Werner's starting to warm up for next season as well. I know, Evan, very exciting times for Chelsea fans, but it's a big week for you as well. You know, if these results don't go your way, you're going to be under pressure. They won that final just to get into the Champions League next season. But no doubt about it. You know, Kante was talked about being finished, and Alonso talked about being finished, and Tuchel certainly got a tune at him. Colin, on a positive note, the final on Saturday, 20,000 fans back in Wembley. Biggest crowd we've had at a game all season. You know, do you think that's going to make a big difference? You know, how the game goes, that, you know, even referee influence, you know, 10,000 fans each, it's going to make it feel like a first proper game in a long time.
It might make a wee bit of a difference in terms of the intensity of the players and the way the referee manages the game, as you say. But it's just great. It's really is great. It'll be strange, actually, for us watching games to see fans, because we're used to it now over the past year of seeing empty stadiums. It will be really strange. Funny, in another WhatsApp group, boys are saying they're hitting the games at the minute. There's not a tackle getting put on, and the refs there's no yellow cards being produced, and they're probably right. But I think fans will change that, especially if next season when you're seeing full stadiums and them away grounds you go to that the fans are right on top of you. I think hopefully we'll get back to the football that we're used to seeing, what we've been used to seeing over the past number of years, which is 100-mile-an-hour stuff, and it's great to see. But it's just brilliant. Hopefully we're getting back to a better normality.
Yeah, seen yesterday too. There's looking at 500 or 1,000 fans on for the Aries Cup final too on the 21st of May. Yeah. So looks like we're getting back to. I think Derry City released a statement just saying they're going to update us on the Brandywell, but from the regulations, I'd assume there'll be about 500 fans on. Don't know how the League of Ireland will warm that, because obviously it's different rules in the south. You know, Derry could be the only thing we know. With they allow Derry, we know fans, or the other teams, fans in for a few weeks. We Derry getting fans in earlier. I'm not sure. That's one to keep an eye on. But how do you see the game going on Saturday, Colin? FA Cup final, I suppose anything could happen. You know, is this a game where Vardy gets his goal and, you know, maybe leads Leicester to an FA Cup, or do you think that Chelsea are just too strong all over the pitch?
That's what I think. I think Chelsea could be too strong, too much know-how. There's a less chance of them freezing than what Leicester could do. But and plus, Leicester over the past maybe 6 weeks have been a wee bit inconsistent. Only got a good result against that team United put out, but they've been inconsistent. Whereas Chelsea have just been on an upward spiral, and they have the momentum. Although they had that result the other night there against Arsenal, but I mean, I think Chelsea will be too strong. I do. I'll go Chelsea. 2-1, 2-0.
2-1. I think Chelsea will be too strong myself. I'm going to go for a 2-0 Chelsea. Colin, before you go, weekend's game starts tonight. Newcastle, Man City. Not much they play for. Well, I suppose a lot of these games this weekend, but might lead to great. Sometimes it can lead to an open goal scoring fest, but I don't know about this one. I think this could be quite drab. How do you see it going?
I just see Man City, no matter what team they put out, they'll be too strong for Newcastle. Newcastle's mathematically safe, aren't they now?
Well, all these teams are relegated, aren't they? Fulham, Sheffield United, West Brom are all down. So.
They are 3 games down. So Man City 2 or 3-0.
I'm going to go 1-0 City. Burnley, Leeds. Burnley have been playing well recently. Leeds as well, been finishing the season strong. Should be a good game this 12:30. More. How do you see that one go?
That could be drab, to be honest with you. It could be. I think Leeds have been a bit more solid recently. Where am I getting at already? I thought they've been a bit more solid.
I have been, to be fair.
And Burnley have done quite well, and they're always solid. I'll go 1-1.
I think Bielsa's trying to shape Leeds into a better team for next season. I think that's what he's doing at the moment because they aren't really going to go. No, they're not. They've nothing to lose really. But I think he's shutting up shop because especially against the bigger teams, they were conceding goals left, right, and centre. I think he's trying to mould them into a better all-round team for next season. Maybe that's why they're being a bit more pragmatic.
I'll go 1-1.
1-1. I think there'll be a draw as well. But I'm going to go 2-2. Southampton, Fulham. Fulham down and out. Southampton probably only for that good start to the season, they would have been in serious trouble because they've been terrible since Christmas. But all that talk of Hasenhüttl going to big clubs has all died down again. So it shows you how quickly things can change in management.
I think he's been unlucky with some of his big players been missing, and if he gets his first 11 out there, they're a really, really good side. And if he doesn't, then I'm not sure the backup is quite what they have in that first 11. That's it makes a telling difference.
There's a lot of talk about Danny Ings moving on the summer. That would be a huge blow to Southampton if he did.
Big time. I would take him in a heartbeat too as well, Gareth. I know we've signed Cavani in a new 1-year deal, but I probably
he's only got a year in his contract left, so again he's probably going to be going for. He won't be going for big money. He'll be going cheap enough.
No, I think he's a quality player. He's better than Southampton. Fulham's down. They're on the beach. So Southampton 3-0.
3-0. I'm going to go 2-0 Southampton. Big game for West Ham at 8 o'clock away to Brighton. Brighton are finishing the season strong as well. It's a very tricky game for West Ham because if they don't win this, all of a sudden even top 6 is looking unlikely. So, and it just seems to West Ham to run out of steam. Injuries have got the better of them. Lingard's form's dried up a bit. Brighton are finishing strong. So, how do you see this going?
I might even plump for Brighton here. As you say, they're finishing strong, and West Ham. Declan Rice has been a huge must to them as well. I will actually. I'll go for Brighton. 2-1.
2-1. I agree, Colin. I'm going to go 2-1 Brighton as well. Sunday, Crystal Palace against Villa. You've seen Jack Grealish get a bit of a run out the other week. There's no doubt he's going to have his mind on the Euros now. Can he get fit for Euros? Can he fire Villa and the late contention for European place, or is it just too far gone now?
It's probably too little. They're finding a result here and there, aren't they?
They're 7 points off 7th. That's going to be very difficult to turn around with 3 games to go.
It's just too little, too late. He's been. Although, see if he had stayed fit, God knows where they would have been. Hey, because he's just he's their talisman, and he's just unbelievable. But Palace home, the Aston Villa got.
Yeah.
I must remember to watch that one. I'll go 0-0 there, Waffy.
0-0. I'm going to go 1-0 Villa. Well, assuming West Ham get bit on Saturday, which we think is going to happen, that would leave Spurs 2 points behind West Ham with a chance to go 6th if they beat Wolves at 2 o'clock. In recent seasons gone by, with them been too fussed with this, but I really don't want to be in this Conference League. And I'm looking at the table, and I'm finding it very difficult to see us finishing any lower than 7th. So, getting on the 6th here is going to be key. Sounds about small time, but I really don't want to be in this hour competition. So, I'd just bite your hand off for your Europa League place now and watch at least half decent football, maybe in the second half of the season. So, and it's an hour route back on the Champions League. So, do you think Spurs can rally the troops here and beat Wolves, who haven't been great in recent weeks, but Wolves have won their last 2 games at the Spurs Stadium, so there's that there to factor in, but they've had some really bad results over the last few weeks as well. So, Spurs, if they can find a bit of form here, they should be too strong.
You would think. I'm just thinking about their firepower. Maybe too much for Wolves. Wolves haven't probably got enough at the minute in the top end of the pitch, but they always seem to churn out the results, and they're always quite solid. And that's down to a brilliant.
I think it's going to be a low scoring affair, to be honest.
I think he's a brilliant manager. That Espirito Santo. I'll go 1 each actually, Gary. You won't like to hear that.
It's going to be quite low scoring, but I'm going to just side with Spurs this week. I'm going to go 1-0, 1-0-1. We don't keep many clean sheets, but I think it'll be nervy. because I really do think this top 6 is important. I think especially if West Ham lose, or even if they draw, Spurs could leapfrog them on goal difference, and they've got 10 goals on them, so it will be in their hands then if they could stay there. But you just no confidence in Spurs being able to see out a few ones here. It's so up and down. So go 1-0. West Brom against Liverpool at 4:30. Probably won't see this as I'm going out the link 48 for a bit of food and a few pints. So I don't think there's any TVs out the back. So I might not see this game, but I think Liverpool will be comfortable. I think the hard game will be the Burnley one. I think they'll. Saying that though, Sam Allardyce will not want the West Brom to lie down. They've been finishing quite strong. They've just probably had too many points to make up, but Liverpool getting their goal here, and I can't see anything other than a comfortable victory. So how do you see it going?
I see Liverpool now. After that victory against United, they're going to really push to win these remaining games. I think they'll be far too strong, but I do think West Brom will score as well. I'll go 4-1.
4-1. I'm going to go 3-0 Liverpool. Stevie saying, where's my shout out? Alright, Stevie. Welcome back. Good to see you watching away. Everton against Sheffield United at 7. Tell you what, Everton have missed so many chances this season. They maybe not top. They've had chances for top 4, but they break on that top 6. Think about all them draws against teams below them in the table. Again, another chance they aren't against Villa, who haven't been playing well. Game in hand, go and win the game and put pressure on the teams above you, and they go and draw. So Everton is just a mentality issue that Ancelotti's tried his best, but just can't really do anything with them.
I think that's it. I keep coming back to that club mentality and that player mentality at them clubs, and that's why Liverpool are finding about it, because they've obviously a better mentality. They're finding a bit of form and better quality, and they're going upwards. And West Ham and Everton are just when it comes to a crunch, are just maybe falling away. Always feel that way. Come towards the end of the season, you always see the big clubs come to the fore. But Sheffield United, they're
dreadful.
I'll go. I don't know. Everton will beat them 2-0.
Everton will win this game 2-0 as well. Shout out to James McCauley's 30th weekend. Happy birthday, James. Anybody you want to shout out, Colin, before we go? Anybody that's watching, or anyone that you maybe want to say a special mention to?
No, I'm alright. Happy birthday, James. Don't know you, but have a good one, lad.
Have you had your 30th yet, or what's the story? Or?
Me?
I
wish
my 30th. I'm going to wrap up the show. Thanks for coming in, Colin. Some interesting predictions. Always seems you topped Chelsea and Arsenal a fair few weeks ago, or Chelsea and Liverpool a fair few weeks ago, and you might be far away with them top 4 predictions. Fingers crossed, Spurs can break into the top 6 and maybe entice a manager with a wee bit of European football next year. And you know what? It would be like West Ham. They just fall away, and as you say, Spurs maybe sneak on there, and Spurs, West Ham. The West Ham fans despise Spurs, so maybe it could, they always seem to be.
Hopefully, next time I'm talking to you as well, we'll have a wee trophy in the bag as well.
United, I'll get you on for that Europa League pot. I'm hoping they do 3 United fans I need, so I'll get you maybe 2 hours on. We'll do like a United special. So we'll talk about how you started supporting United and stuff, and you're obviously the good times, some of the bad times, probably more recent years, and obviously building up to the game.
Brilliant.
So we'll try and organise it. So it's probably a weeknight. I think it's a Wednesday night, so maybe do it on the Monday or Tuesday night before the final. But Colin, thanks for joining us. I'll probably see you all weekend at some stage.
100%. Thanks for having me, guy. Good man.
Thanks very much.
All right. All the best.